obviously, in a perfect world, you don't have all your eggs in one basket. And I heard you talk about this on your podcast, episode 1, when you were talking about yourself. And I learned that, diversification is really important, and you need to pick the industry that you're going to go into. The reality is that in an aftermarket trimmer head industry, there are only 3 players. There's Walmart, Lowe's, and Home Depot. That's 95% of the market share. And yeah, you've got, your Ace Hardwares and True Values, and those guys are great customers even today. So I'm not throwing you guys under the bus, but the fact is the numbers are there in those big 3 retailers. So you're naturally going to have this sort of monopolistic type of structure, and there'll generally be some sort of distributor that dominates the space, right? Then you're going to be forced into working with them. And that's before you ever say, here's my great product and this is my value proposition. What's the lay of the land? I mean, I had quit my job, mortgaged my house, put every bit of savings I had, went without health insurance for me and my wife and 3 kids to get to this point. And then to hear that we might not really even have the patent. We might have bought a fake patent or one that doesn't even have any validity. It was threw us for an emotional loop. And it took a while for us to even get clarity. We had to just keep going through the motions, like stepping in faith, which I think entrepreneurship and faith are very closely tied. It's just leaning on each other and nose to the grindstone and knowing that there's some purpose. I really feel there's a purpose in my life. And I believe that in everyone, but I just feel like in a lot of ways I've been able to find that purpose and just do the work to get through it. And that, God didn't take me this far to just drop me on my face. So that helps me sort of get back up quickly when things like this come my way. I think that the biggest risk in life is to not take risk, to try to take consistently the safe way and to know what the outcome is going to be. And maybe this is a personality flaw, or maybe it's just tenured in the entrepreneurial space, but I embrace the more unknown, the better. But if I feel like I'm moving in the right direction, then I don't have to know how it's going to turn out. And the more that you can be like that, the more resilient you're going to be, because things are going to come your way. And I think I hope that's why you have this podcast, because failure is part of success. It's an integral part of success. And so when things come your way, you have to be willing to embrace it. I have in my brain, like I'm a pictorial person, right? So I think about a track, like let's say the Olympics, where you've got hurdles. It's just a one loop around, hurdles back. And every time that you look down the row of the hurdles and you see guys coming up and over, and you see ones that might tip it or just aggressively go over it. But that's where the delta happens. That's where the change happens. Everybody's going to face the hurdles. Your competition's facing the same hurdles you're facing today. The quicker you can get over the hurdle and keep moving, that's when you're going to gain or lose ground on your competition. And it all starts in your mind. And if you can believe that no matter what comes your way, you can figure it out, then you're going to be fine. That's what it all comes down to, is trying to, when you get no, just say, okay, well, no now, but how do we get to a yes? How do we circumvent no to get to the yes that might actually be a better yes for all of us that we can't even see right now because we are thinking that it needs to be our way, but we just don't probably know what's possible. See, a company's not money. It's not about the money. It's a necessary part and a great benefit of a company, but a company has to be more about, you got to be delivering value, and it needs a purpose. And so you need to have some sort of purpose that you see, that you can identify and that you can communicate quickly on an elevator about, the value that you're bringing to humanity. In some small niche way. It doesn't have to be ultra profound or, earth shattering, but, with our Weed Eater Head company, we weren't really focused on that. I just personally knew that pain. And I knew that there were people out there that if they didn't have to stop and wind the line on, then maybe they got a little extra time to spend with their kids on the weekend, right? Or with their wife. having the value set, and knowing who you are and what you stand for and what are you doing in the bigger sense, it's going to make everything easier, and it's going to help you get out of bed in the morning. Money's not going to make you get out of bed in the morning, not for a long time. For a little while it will, but not for a long time. You need to have that purpose behind you and some goals set out. And I'm a big written goals guy, so you got to do that too. And I always tell people, you got to know where you're going, or else you're never going to get there. So you got to have a vision that's well beyond the hurdle or obstacle in front of you, and know sort of the bigger picture, the direction you're heading, and knowing that you can tack left or tack right depending on what life and business brings you. But that it's a journey, and so you gotta pack and be prepared mentally and physically for it.